which came tonight, which surprises me, is Joe Abner.
No.
And Joe, you have anything, Joe is our liaison with Steve Shabbat's office. If you have anything you want to say, you're welcome.
No, not tonight. I just came to see you off. You were one of the first people I met 11 years ago when I first started my career with the congressman, so I had to come and see you off because I appreciate you and everything you've been over the years, so I had to come see you off. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, well now I have, anyone from the public would like to come, we'd like for you to come to the podium and give your name and address. It's open. First come, first serve.
Yeah, I'd like to make a couple comments. Hi, my name's Brian Witterstetter. I live at 7951 Secretariat Court. And I just have some comments about the roundabout. So I was the one that sent you three gentlemen an email this
Yes.
morning because I don't believe in blindsiding. I am very interested in the financial cost for the roundabout, both from a breakdown of what the township's paying and the state's paying, or any federal funds that are being used for the roundabout. My biggest concern, as you saw from the email, is that I think the township has other pressing infrastructure problems as opposed to the roundabout. One that I caught out in particular is Zion Road, which has been a mess for a really long time.
That contract is out. It was supposed to be paved this year and it didn't get done. But the contract has been left with a contractor. It was supposed to be finished this year, but it's in limbo because, I guess, of weather. End of the year, the blacktop companies are now closed. I believe the county has put a contract out for repaving that full, as far as Zion Road.
I think what helped a lot was the telephone pole.
Please?
I think the same thing.
Yeah. But the contract is out. In fact, I heard that 2 months ago, the contract was out. Now, it's not been done, but as you know, they put new water main in,
Right.
a good portion of it. And they did Zion Hill, but the contract was a separate contract on Zion. It has been let.
Okay, but, I mean, that's good news. That's something I didn't know. That's good to know because that road's been a mess for a long time. I use that road occasionally, so. So, I mean, back to the roundabout. My biggest concerns about the roundabout is, I drive through that intersection multiple times a day, and I've never had any traffic problems. So I'm kind of confused as to why the township would want to spend money on a roundabout in that particular location. I would think that if, there have been times where I'm on Bridgetown Road and I'm coming up by the UDF and I'm backed up past the UDF, but it's only about 2 minutes. If you actually time your watch, it's really only about 2 minutes before you actually get through the intersection. And if that's the real issue, probably you could save, 4/5 of the cost of a roundabout by putting in a left-hand turn-only lane onto Shady Lane, if that was the case. And you could couple that with a right-hand turn-only lane coming off of Shady Lane. Although I will say, I've rarely found myself backed up all the way to Foxtrot when I'm coming off of Shady Lane, and I've never missed that light. Like if it turns green, I always get through. It never then changes red, and I have to stop and wait for another cycle on that light. So I would like to hear, this all seemed to happen kind of fast because.
6 years in ranking.
2015 is our first meeting.
Okay,
And we got a public meeting here right after that.
So I'm new to this because the 2020 election really shocked me as a citizen of what happened there. And so I realized, writing letters to federal government officials really does nothing at all. It's more therapy than anything else because they don't really seem to listen. And so I figured if I'm going to get involved, I'm going to get involved at the township level. So I started coming, as you guys know, in July to these meetings, right? And nothing was said there. I missed the October meeting because of work obligations. And this gets back to the website as well, why it's important for the website and information. Because like a lot of you, right, I work and I have family. So I have family activities. I'm involved in some clubs like the Cincinnati Astronomical Society out on Zion Road and work. And I can't make these meetings all the time. And there's just no good way to get information about what the township's really doing or how, you're spending our dollars or where we get information on the financials about what the township's doing with the money. I don't know how we solve that problem. As far as something like the roundabout, that's a really large expenditure, right? And when I came in July or September, August and September, nothing was mentioned. I missed October, then all of a sudden, I see that November 17th, come out and see what we're doing, you know, the roundabout's gonna get started in 2022. Maybe I missed all that because I got involved in the process late, but, you know, I'm really interested in how we start lowering the veil of transparency, and the website, if it gets fixed, is gonna go a long ways to do that, I hope. But that's my concern, and that's why I'm up here.
I've been the one that's worked the roundabout since 2015. In the late 2016, we had a public meeting here in the back room. It was well attended. The subject came up about the roundabout. The county is basically the spearhead of the architect. We worked and they ended up choosing the architect, which is Brand Center Carroll. Brand Center Carroll ran into some monumental problems personnel-wise over the last 3 or 4 years and switched around people. And about the last year and a half, they have taken on a person who is the engineer in charge on this and come up with where we're at today. And he was hired from the state of Indiana Department of Highway. Had a lot of experience in roundabouts, and this year we probably had a total of probably 20 meetings with him and with the county personnel. Back in 2019, there was an application for a grant put into the state of Ohio for funding the improvement of Bridgetown and Shady Lane. One of the situations is on the application, and how it got approved was applying for a roundabout. Turn lanes wouldn't have given us any state infrastructure improvement money. So we're going to be getting a little over $1 million of state funding for that project. The project's going to come in at probably just a little over $2 million, and we're concerned right now with inflation the way it is. As far as the township, we've committed to about $850,000. That $850,000 is not coming directly from you, it's coming from any house that was built since 1995. I think your house was built before 1985. It's coming from our TIF fund. And that TIF fund is how we built this building, how we've done a lot of structure, how we built the park. The TIF money comes from houses that were built after 95. We receive 100% of that taxation, and it's geared for things like infrastructure, improvements. We can use it for fire equipment. We cannot use it for personnel costs. But that money that we're putting in, 100% of it's coming from our TIF fund. So just to clarify, it's not directly from John Doe, the property owner that has a house. So, but all indication was at that first meeting back in 16, and the meeting since that, and we had a public meeting here last month, there was only one person who verbally gave opposition to it. And that person happens to be one of 3 property owners of a joint property. And she voiced an opinion and was kind of verbal at it. And in fact, afterwards, a couple weeks after that, the person that was with her apologized the way it happened. But everything, I mean, we've had the shopping center, we've worked with Mr. Rector with the shopping center. In fact, we have a meeting Friday with Mr. Rector, and they're 100% on board as far as getting this thing done. And that's where it's at.
And the county engineer is ready.
The county engineer, the ODOT, is basically, I mean, if you travel Hamilton County, most likely Butler County, you go to Kentucky, roundabouts, I mean, we have 4 of them in one of our subdivisions. We have one of them at the school, which you mentioned. You know, it's the way it is.
I guess the only recommendation I would make then, if there's some way to do public education about how to use roundabouts, because
there is a thing coming out, and we'll probably be putting in our newsletter on the education of the use of a roundabout. I will tell you that a remark was made at that public hearing that turn lanes, which could have been the cheap way to do it, the expensive way to do it, would have taken more property for the property owners than what the roundabout's going to do. And that was a statement from Eric Beck, the county engineer. Okay?
All right, well,
Thank
thank you
you.
for
Thank you.
listening, we appreciate it.
Good.
Thanks, Paul.